and go.
Okay, today we're going to show you how to tie the BuffleHead. I've gotten a lot of requests for how to tie this fly from the Fiberglass Fly Rodders forum guys, and this is a fly that I originally saw, or at least a version of it on a river a number of years ago. I got a brief look at it and then went home, and it took me a couple of years to try and figure out how to come up with this fly. If the originator ever comes forward, that'd be great, but I don't even remember the name of that fly, but I call it the BuffleHead. It's named after the duck that dives and swims and flies, because as you're false casting, he's up in the air flying around. So the BuffleHead is a unique fly. Some people think it looks like a stealth bomber, but it's tied fairly differently from a stealth, and in my mind it looks nicer, and it does one more interesting thing than a stealth does. In addition to the diving action, it also has a mode where it acts as a gurgler, and that craft foam that we use is very steady there. It will not flop back as you're fishing, and this obviously won't come forward. So it's a bimodal fly, very versatile, and it is a terrific fly for smallmouth, but I also use it for trout. Brown trout love it, and white. You can obviously tie this fly in a couple different colors. I've shown how you can use this fly in these two modes, but I also tie in a couple versions. Tie a mouse version, but also this version here where I just spin that body around once it's tied, and then I have a fly that becomes weedless. Now, this one's been spun a couple times trying to demonstrate it, but it does usually move around pretty easily. And then tie a slit here usually to make it weedless. So we'll move on with how to tie this fly. Obviously it's available, or you can tie in a number of different colors. Now let's take a look at the hooks. You can use a couple of different hooks. I only tie this fly in one size for now, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. But you can use Tiemco 8089s or the Gamakatsu B10S in number 4 or 6, and also the Allen B200 in number 14 works well. Today we're going to use a Tiemco 8089, I think is what I've got in there, in size 12. And we are going to make a blank for a foam blank for tying on this fly, and it's going to be shaped pretty much like this. For a while I was painstakingly cutting these out with a razor blade and a ruler, and finally decided to go ahead and purchase a cutter from River Road Creations. I had them custom make one for me to my specifications. This cutter's not available from him, at least not right now, and I do need to make another version of it because I think the nose is a bit too wide still, but it works. But I think we can improve on this cutter design a little bit, and then we can talk to him about releasing it to general public and using it if the fly becomes popular. Alright, so this is the blank we're going to use, and first let's do a couple steps before we get to that. First thing we're going to do is put on some thread. I use a thick, heavy-duty thread on this. Probably my favorite one I've used so far is the Beavis 140. And it's available in a lot of nice bright colors for bass flies. So we're going to get this thread base on the shank, and then we're going to first put in a tail. And the way I do the tail is take 3 pieces of marabou, and strip those off like that, and remember to take this section out. So you've got 1 Y piece there, and then I usually put a different color in the middle. We're going to lay that right over that, and then the other color. And put that right over that. So now I've got a nice bi-colored piece of marabou here. And we're going to measure this so that it's, you know, about double the length of the hook. And I'm going to lay this. We're going to come back up here and position the thread about 50 to 60% along the length of the shank. And then we're going to tie that down. Then you kind of lift this up here like the tail up, and that thread will just follow right along. So you have a nice thick base. You want to make sure it's covered, because when you go to tie this fly on the bottom, you want to make sure that section is covered up good. So lifting that up helps automatically position that thread for you. Then we're going to go till it just gets to the end. Now, a little bit of a trick here with the tail and tying marabou is don't cut your marabou, but if your sections don't match up perfectly, just grab it and pull it like that. And then you have a nice look there that doesn't look like it's been cut or chopped by something sharp. Okay, so we have our tail. Now, sometimes, not all the time, I put in a piece of flash, some crystal flash. I really haven't noticed that it makes that much difference, but it just looks cooler, nicer to do it this way. So I just take one piece, double it over, and then I have a piece that has 4 strands, and you just get it so it sits right where you want it. Then turn this over and repeat the process. Double the strand, cut it, and then we're going to basically double it again. And put it right exactly where you want it. And now we can trim that right now. Oops. Forgot to go back a little bit. Okay, so now, hold on, drop my scissors. Equipment emergency. So we can trim this like that. Alright, so now our tail is ready to go. And now we're ready to get that foam piece in here. So we're going to take this This is actually a little bit long too, but I kind of like it that way. That way if I want to tie it in a slightly longer hook, I can do that if I want. Then get up onto that thread base. So there we go. Now comes a fun part. It's a different way of putting on rubber legs. Here I've selected a nice bright color. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I do here. But instead of trying to tie on the legs, I use this foam to hold it down for me. And it also helps to keep the legs coming straight out. So what I try to do though is go once and over and get behind that leg or foam piece, and then I can just come right up and over like that. Now my eyesight is really bad at my age, so forgive me, but I'm going to put on my magnifier to help me out a little bit here. So that's one leg. Let's put on a let's put on the second leg. So get back over here, put this here. Working with fiddly legs is a little frustrating at times, especially when you have fingers like a bear, grizzly bear. Put that one down. Okay, we're going to put one more set of legs in. Try to put that one first and then this. And that just helps us to normally try to get them a little further back than that, but it really doesn't matter. It's more a matter of how they look to the fisherman. Okay, now I'm trying to add to that thread base, plus I'm trying to tighten this foam right around those legs so those legs do not want to ever come out. You'll find that this method really holds those legs down well. Now at this point, just so we get those fiddly legs out of the way, I do go ahead and cut at this point. Now let them go kind of long, and probably about 2.5, 3 gaps long. But you can see that leg isn't going to go anywhere. Then I bring this down, and we're going to cover that foam, get rid of any sign of that section. Alright, now we're going to pull this over. Now see, we're starting to come where we want to be here, and I like to come up a little further back like that. And then here we're going to tie that down until we get up to the eye, and then come back, cover all that up. And this just helps us to make sure that bottom looks good and everything is nice and neat. Twist this around want to make sure that's squared up. Now we're going to put in some eyes. Now I just sat down one night, maybe 2-3 nights, and made a bunch of these eyes. They're 4mm eyes in different colors. Some pink, white, black, yellow, red. And take these eyes and put some monofilament, 28 or 30 thousandths I think is what I used, and then cut them into length, and then use a lighter to burn the ends, and it expands that monofilament, it bunches up, and it holds those eyes on nice and tight. I've selected for this fly some orange eyes, and we're going to put these in right here. And you don't have to go to near the lengths you would tying lead eyes to make sure that thing's on real tight, because just like we use the foam to tie down the legs, we're going to use this foam to help us tie down these eyes. So when you're done tying the eyes, you want to make sure that the thread is right behind the eye. We're going to fold that over, and we're going to come down tight, and this is where that nice heavy thread comes into play. See that? And then we're going to roll this back, and we'll go tie that right back down there again. I didn't do a good job of making sure it was even. More focused on talking than tying. And you can see this fly is now starting to come together. Now, to tie off, instead of trying to come back up here, it exposes that thread and it can get cut or bitten into. And then, so what I do is roll that over that fly and then go over the head like that. And I use the whip finish tool that comes in nice and handy for getting in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 if you want. And then we're going to trim him close. So we are almost there. And here is starting to really look like a bass fly. Oops, guess I missed like that. What I do, if you'll move the camera down here towards the, I put that thing upside down, and then I push down on those eyes and make sure that everything is perpendicular, the shank is perpendicular, make sure the legs are where they need to be, like that. And I take this double-bladed razor blade that I've broken in half. Use a nice, good quality razor blade like Feather. There's some other good ones too. You just break that like that, and we're gonna take this and bend it. And then once we get that position where I want, we put this on its back and put it into the gurgler mode. And then we're going to go right down on that fly, like that, and push down. See how nice that looks? See how nice a cut you get? And then you can flip it back, and you end up with one of the best smallmouth flies I've used, the BuffleHead. Thanks for watching.